You're all set. You're streaming.
Okay, thanks. For some reason, this is a perennially popular topic. I guess, I don't know whether people are going to stop using Zoom ever or not.
I would guess not. It's changed our society, hasn't it?
Well, a little bit. I've heard some people are starting to ask. They're talking to employees about having them come back to offices. Google made an announcement saying they wanted all employees to work in offices, and if you wanted to work from your home more than 14 days a year, you had to get special approval or something. So it's very different company by company how things are going. I know on my bike ride yesterday, there were a lot of people out riding, so people are getting out. All right, we're going to admit people.
Hello.
We are recording. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Bob, how are you? Happy Easter.
Hi, Carol Sue. How are you?
I'm hanging in there, I thank you. And I thank you for being here to keep me out of trouble today.
Great, great.
Hello.
Hi, Pat. Hi, everybody. Kathleen. Kathleen, you've already got a virtual background.
Yes, I do. But I wasn't sure quite what I could learn from this, just in case.
Okay. Okay. All right. We do have a TA, Phil from Get Set Up is on. Well, actually, no, Kim. I see Phil. I see Kim here too. Kim is actually going to be helping us during the meeting. If anybody needs help, if you post your message again in chat, Kim, what happens is when people that join the meeting don't see it until don't see chat until they actually join the meeting, I discovered.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And we've got a fairly good sized group today for an Easter Sunday. Okay, so it's great to see everybody joining us on Get Set Up, and we are streaming live. I'm gonna give people a few minutes more to get online here and get going here. I'm looking for people that have virtual backgrounds, and looks like a lot of newcomers to using virtual backgrounds as well. Okay. So what I want you to do during the time when I go through a few introductory slides is think about a question you have about virtual backgrounds, if you have one. Obviously, you don't have to have a question. It's not a requirement you have a question for this class. I mean, so if you don't have a question, that's okay. But if you do have a question, think of it. And then after I go through the agenda, I want to see what kinds of questions we have. And I've done a pretty good job anticipating questions, but you never know, right? You never know what's going to happen when you get a live class going here. So we've got a good number of people here that are all here. So I'm going to take a snapshot of something on my screen for attendance, and I'm going to share my screen and go through a few introductory slides. Okay. And we will see, we get a lot of questions about Zoom in general. So there are some great classes on Zoom for beginners, but we're going to talk about Zoom virtual backgrounds and that mystery of how, I don't know how the technology works that well, but I know it works, and I know it helps us out, and it does a lot of things for us. So we're going to talk about Zoom virtual backgrounds for beginners. For those of you that are curious, I'm located in Seal Beach, which is a small town nestled in between Los Angeles and Orange County in California. I was born in the Midwest in Chicago, big city kid. My dad was a school teacher, and we would take Route 66 out to California to visit my grandmother. And I said, well, when I grow up, I want to live in California. And so I came to school out here, met my wife, and ended up living out here and working in the technology industry most of my career. And I've owned my own company, and I've been teaching adults how to use technology since about 2007, I guess, and through community colleges, and started with Get Set Up about January of this year. Okay, so Get Set Up, for those of you that are joining us and have been online on classes and have a Get Set Up account, thank you. And ideally it helps us if we can see you, and when you're talking, your camera's on, so I can see, your face, and that helps, but it's not required. We are recording the session, and you can request a recording by sending an email to help@getsetup.io. That's our help email. And if you have any technical difficulties with the website or anything, you can join, you can send that email as well. If you're joining by live stream, for those of you that are watching us on live stream TV, encourage you to set up an account if you don't have one at getsetup.io and register for a class, because you get to participate and get invitations to special events. Like we've got Rick Steves is going to be actually doing a Get Set Up class, a special class for us soon. And we're going to get other guest speakers as well. We actually have a staff member that we hired specifically to help arrange for guest speakers too. And we might mention some products or websites during the class, but we're not paid to promote specific products or anything that we offer training on. We're just offering training on them because that's where people say they want to get information in classes. So today, our agenda is going to focus on a few things here. We're going to talk about, I went ahead there. I don't know why I went ahead. My slide wants to go faster than my mouse does. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to learn about is some minimum hardware and software requirements. I'm going to mute everybody. I think picking up a little feedback from someone. So sometimes microphones can affect that on computers. We're going to talk about something called minimum hardware and software requirements. Zoom virtual backgrounds is something that requires a fairly recent computer, and it will work on most computers and iPhones and iPads, but there's some technology it doesn't work on at all. So we'll take a look at that. We'll talk about how you can change and add virtual backgrounds. I'm going to show you step by step, and then I'm going to show you live on my computer monitor how to do it, and on my iPad if I get that working right. And then I'm going to show you some websites as well for working with virtual backgrounds. So we're gonna take a look at a lot of things. So this is a good time for those of you that are interested in posing questions to get your questions out. If you have anything specific, I see one. Can I use a photo to use as my virtual background? Yes, you can, and I'll show you how to do that. You have to find the photo. Akua, you've got a question? Got your hand
Yeah,
up?
are you going to show us? I want to learn how to use videos in the background.
Well, you can. I'll show you where you can add a video to a background. You have to have the video in the first place, though, is the thing. So if you have the video, you can do that. So that's a possibility. We'll take a look at, okay? And it may or may not work. We'll see. Any other questions?
I have a question. How do we, when you say we need software, I thought it was on every computer would be able to do it. How would we know whether we've got the right? My computer's probably 5 years old. Will I know instantly whether I can use a virtual background?
Sometimes there are some things that happen when you try to start using it, but there's also a website I'm going to show you that will give you the specific requirements, and you may or may not know enough about your computer to tell from the website. So it might be something you tell when you actually try and do it in Zoom that it may tell you. Okay.
Okay.
Bob,
Vivia's got her hand up. Let me get her question and then I'll get to you, Nancy. Okay.
Thank you, Bob. I'm interested in knowing how to have a virtual background on my phone. I just upgraded my phone. I had a 6S and I couldn't do anything with it. And when I got a 12, I saw that, oh, maybe I can. So when you said that you could do it on your desktop and your tablet, you did not mention smartphone. So will you also show us how to do a virtual on our smartphone?
Yeah, I'll show you the steps. I don't have my phone hooked up to Zoom, but it will work on your model of phone. Okay.
Thank you.
And it's very similar between a tablet and a phone to do it. You probably will figure it out pretty quickly once I show you the slide on doing that.
Thank you.
And who else someone had their hand up? Nancy.
yeah, you had pictures of some backgrounds there that I would like there, and you had the water with the, like looked like Hawaii. I wanted to know how to get that for my virtual background.
As long as you can find the picture on your computer or your.
You have it when you showed the pictures?
As long as you can find the picture, you will be able to use the picture as a virtual background.
Well, where can you find that picture?
Well, it depends on what you're using. Okay, if it's a picture you took, is it a picture you took, Nancy?
What?
Is it a picture that you took yourself?
Oh, a picture that you just showed with a picture for the virtual background to show the water with the.
Oh, okay. I'll show
picture.
you. I'll show you some websites where you can find some free pictures that you can use. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because sometimes people take pictures and sometimes they don't, and so they want to get a better idea of where they can find things. Okay, if you change the background, well, that's kind of it. Carol Sue has a question. Now, one thing we're going to talk about is the fact that virtual backgrounds are stored in the app or the application that runs on your device. And so if you have a photo that you use for a virtual background on a laptop or a desktop, and then you go to use that picture on your Android or iPhone or iPad, it's not going to be the same. You have to actually set up virtual backgrounds on each individual device that you want to use virtual backgrounds for. They don't carry over, but as long as you've got the picture on the device, you can use it. So let's learn about virtual backgrounds. Okay, let's try a few things out. I think I've got most of the questions anticipated, so we'll see what we've got. So the first thing is, what's the minimum hardware and software that's required? Okay, you may not know exactly what model of phone or tablet or computer you have, but it's something that I think we cover in most all the basic class. If you're not sure, you can always go look up the model number from your receipt or from a label on your computer that you've got, and you should be able to tell some things about it. Now, the reason it's important is that we're working with technology, and technology does require, I'm going to move some things around here so it's easier for me to see what's going on. Technology requires a processor and some software. Zoom gives you the software to use Zoom. Okay, so when you set up Zoom initially, you probably set up a Zoom account for yourself with an email and a password, and then you got you got to install Zoom software on your phone, your tablet, whatever device you're using. And so what Zoom does is Zoom gives you some information about what you can use Zoom on. This is the web page. You're going to get a link to this web page in the email, but it's system requirements from for virtual backgrounds. And they have Windows, they have Mac, they have Linux, they have iOS, and they have Android. One type of hardware and operating system they do not support virtual backgrounds on. Now, it doesn't mean Zoom won't work. Zoom will work on all of these. We're just talking about the virtual background feature of Zoom, okay? But Zoom does not support virtual backgrounds on Chromebooks, okay? So if anybody has a Chromebook, you are not able to use virtual backgrounds with Zoom on that, okay? And they don't have an app. They don't have an app for Chromebooks, okay? And so it's just something that doesn't work. Now, there's a couple of things that are going on here. One is this thing called a green screen. A green screen, I'm going to show you a slide after this. I explain a few things on this website, but a green screen is a physical piece of fabric that exists. In fact, let me switch over. I think I can do this at the same time here. I'm getting better at doing these things. This is a green screen that we can see. This is actually a green screen. These are pictures from Amazon shopping site. It is literally a green piece of fabric that you hang or put behind you. You don't have to have one, but if you do have one, you can check off the function in Zoom virtual backgrounds that says, I have a green screen, but you don't have to have one. And people that have fast enough computers, I am not using a green screen, but what's happening is that the camera is able to separate me from what's really behind me. And so I am using Zoom without a physical green screen. That is one of the options that you can do with Zoom. It says Windows and Mac, image only without a physical green screen. Whenever you're doing things with video, it's a little more requirements. So they do have a separate requirements for image only without a green screen for Mac and Windows. Video is a little bit different. You have to have a faster computer for video than you do for just an image. An image is like a photograph. So let's scroll down and see what the heck these are. On Windows, this is where it gets technical. You have to have the latest Zoom desktop client. That's the app you install. Now, on iPhones, iPads, and Androids, the Zoom app almost automatically updates. But on your desktop, you may not always have the latest version of the Zoom client. In which case, if you go to your zoom.us website, and you can download the latest version. That helps. Don't do it now during class, but afterwards is helpful. Zoom on Windows works on Windows 7, 8, and 10. And you need at least an Intel i3 with 2 cores, 5th generation. All right. Intel's in their 10th generation of processors, and every year they introduce a new one. So that meant that if you have a 5-year-old Intel i3 processor, it will probably work. It may or may not, okay? But if you look at i5s, they're more powerful. You can go back to the 3rd generation, i7 3rd, and so i9's faster, and some people might have an AMD processor. Video just requires a lot of computing horsepower, and so you have to have that in your computer, okay? So if you don't know, look up the model number of your computer, do a Google search on it, and you can find out what it supports, what type of processor it is in there. Macs are a little bit easier to get information on. Most of the time, Macs that are about 4 or 5 years old will work just fine. Now, phones and tablets are a little bit different. iOS is Apple's mobile operating system. It works on both iPhones and iPads. So I mean, if you have an iPhone 8, 8 Plus, or 10 or newer, it will work. So 8's are about, let's see, we're on 12, so 8s are about 4 years old. iPad Pros, all of them, and the late 5th and 6th generation of the 9.7-inch iPad. Okay, iPad minis doesn't work on it very well, from what I understand. Android's a little trickier because Androids, you're made by so many different people. It says you need an 8-core Android processor in your computer. You may not know what's inside of it, so you have to look up the model number of the Android model phone you've got. And it says only the following phone manufacturers are supported: Google, OnePlus, Oppo, Redmi, Samsung, Vivo, Xiaomi, and Huawei. Okay, if you have a phone made by anybody else, it's not going to give you the option to use a virtual background. There's a pretty easy way to tell on Android if it works or not with the settings. We'll take a look at that, okay? So this is probably the most technical part, is understanding what you've got and what kind of technology you own. And like I say, best way to do it is to Google search the brand of or model of what you're using, and that will help you out. Okay. So if I haven't scared you yet, okay, because I know that's unfortunately, I don't make the rules. It's kind of like, if you want to play baseball, you play by the rules. I didn't make the rules for technology. It's just how they work. Okay, but there's other easy ways to tell too. We'll talk about those. Okay, so let me go back to the green screen slide here. Okay, so there's a couple of ways to get Zoom working. I'm going to walk through some slides on the desktop app and hold your questions until I walk through the slides, and for both desktop and mobile, and then we'll actually do it live. But you may all want to get ahead of me here. Everybody tries to, I know. Okay, so on the desktop app, if you can open up the app itself on your desktop, and there is a gear in the upper right that's a settings gear. And if you click on the settings gear, it gives you a list of all the settings. Backgrounds and filters is a setting in the app. And then when you get to this point, there's another way to get to it that's a little bit easier. But when you get to this point, you can click on the plus button, and that lets you either add an image or add a video. You may see none, and you may, if your computer is fast enough to use virtual backgrounds, you should see a few selections that Zoom provides you as part of the app. Okay, that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is whenever you're in a meeting, and you can start a meeting at any time in Zoom. You have to be logged into your Zoom account, but when you open up the Zoom app on your phone, on your tablet, on your desktop, you just can click new meeting. It's free. It's part of Zoom's free service, and you start a new meeting, and it gives you the meeting controls that you see when you're in a Zoom meeting as a participant, only you're the host and you can access the video functions. It's just you, and so that's how you can set up your virtual background ahead of time. When you're in a meeting, and you see at the bottom your microphone and your video. Now, this is desktop users that see it this way. Laptops and tablet users see a little bit different view. When you go to the video camera, there's a little tiny arrow to the right of that. And if you click on that, it brings up a pop-up menu where you can select choose virtual background. Okay, we're going to go through this about 5 times. Okay, so you'll have a chance to see it. That's how, and then when you click on choose virtual background, this screen is what pops up. Oops, sorry about that. This screen is what pops up, where it shows, and it's automatically selected backgrounds and filters for you. So it's a little bit easier to do it in a meeting. That's why I say start a meeting, on your own if you want to. It shows you a preview of whatever you are using for your current virtual background. You can select anything you've already used, or you can add a new virtual background by clicking the plus button that appears right in this section here. It's small. When you click on it, you have a choice, add an image or add a video. So if you had a video you wanted to add, but you have to have it on your computer. You have to have a photo or a video on your computer. And sometimes the hardest part is wondering, where do I find it, right? Okay, finding photos and videos, but they will typically be in your photos folder or any photo you have that you've got on. I tend to put things on my desktop that I work with a lot, or it might have been something you don't, but you just have to know where to find it. And then it brings up a file folder list of things in files and folders. You can go to any file on your computer and select open, and then it loads the virtual background up right away. So that's the step for desktop users. And voila, success, right? Okay, so on mobile, it's a little different because you don't have a mouse and a keyboard. You've got a touchpad screen, right? So if you're on your touchpad screen, you would look for, on a phone, at the bottom, you would tap it. That brings up this menu, and you would tap on the more dots. There's 3 dots that usually say more. And it brings up a menu. And if you see virtual background in there, you know your device supports virtual backgrounds. For Android users, if you don't see that virtual background, that means that the device doesn't support it. Now, when you tap on that virtual background the first time on your device, it will ask you for permission to access your photos. You are giving the Zoom application, not Zoom the company. You are giving the Zoom application permission to get to your photos on your phone. So you have to have the photo on your phone in order to use it as a virtual background on your phone. If you have a tablet, on the tablet, the controls tend to be in the upper right-hand corner on iPads. There's a more button, and it pops up a menu. The menus will be a little bit different from iPads and iPhones and Androids, but it pops up that menu, and you just tap virtual background or background, and then you would select the photo you want to use from your, give Zoom permission to get to your photos, and then let Zoom do it, okay? What do you think so far, okay? Think you can give it a try? All right, well, let's do it on a desktop first. How's that? All right, let's use me as a guinea pig, right? Because that way you don't break anything, right? I don't break too many things either, but that way you don't break anything. Okay, so any questions so far?
I don't know what to ask, but I feel confused.
That's okay. We're going to walk through it about 3 or 4 times so that you can ask. Now, the interesting thing about Zoom, I'm going to show you something. I am not a good artist, so you have to excuse my artwork, but I want to show you what's happening technically is what's going on. Okay, so you've got a camera, you've got your computer here, okay? And like I say, I'm not a good artist, but that's your computer, and this is your video screen. Okay, and you've got a camera on your computer, and your camera is looking out at everything, okay? And you are here. I'm not very good at profile pictures, but let's say that looks more like an alien than a person. But your camera is picking up what's you. And let's say you've got a furniture in the background, and you've got a chair, you're sitting on or something, and you've got a cat that's flying around or whatever, right? So what your camera is trying to do is trying to say, hey, Bob, I know you've got stuff here and here, and the light's coming to me from that stuff, and it's coming to me from you. What I want to do to make virtual backgrounds work is I want to say, well, this is Bob, okay? okay? And I want to separate Bob out from everything else in the background. And I want to erase this and I want to replace it with a picture. And I want to do that electronically with magic and software. That's what's actually happening, is that instead of, the camera is saying, I can figure out who Bob is and what's behind Bob, and I'm going to ignore what's behind Bob and replace it with a picture. It's like magic. I mean, it is mad. I mean, people make this stuff work. It's amazing. But that's what it does. Okay, so let me get rid of my excellent artwork there, because I know you all appreciate that. Okay, and Akua, you've got your hand up for a question.
Yeah, Bob, can you put your beautiful artwork back up? I want to ask a question about that.
Lose it. I hope I didn't lose it. I shouldn't have.
Is it gone?
It's still there.
Okay. Where Bob is sitting at, and you drew a outlined it in blue,
Right.
in between where you are and the outline. I'm having like a bleeding. You can see the green behind me.
Yeah, you get a little fuzziness sometimes.
Yeah, how do I get rid of that? Is that lighting?
Well, the better the quality, there's three things that have to do with how well virtual backgrounds work. If you have a beautiful background, by the way. I really like that one. Okay, that's your real home, isn't it?
Oh no, but I wish it was.
Okay, so it's what happens is that the fringe, that's called a fringe effect, and you see a little bit. If I turn my head sideways, because I wear glasses, sometimes you can see it affecting that. Hair, the best way of making that go away is to use a real green screen behind you.
I have one.
If you have a real green screen, but you also, what you have to do, the next thing is you have to make sure you have enough lighting. I have actually 2 lights to my side in my office. They're both 100-watt lamps. So I have 200 watts of light hitting my face. So being lit up well is important too. Don't have as little bit of light behind you as you can. So you want to have a darker background, but you want to make sure a lot of light, because it helps the camera see and separate you from what's behind you. And then the next thing is the quality of the webcam that you use. Okay, the webcams that come with laptops and desktops are not always the best quality. And so the next best thing is upgrading your computer, but you can usually get good results with a physical green screen, because that's what they do in movie and TV studios, is they use a physical green screen to get that effect. But they have a lot of lighting. They have a lot of bright lights shining on.
So Bob, I noticed that at night when I'm Zooming, and I'm using my green screen now. I have a green screen now. And it's because the sun that's shining on the other side of it is making the green screen my light green.
Yes.
I think maybe I don't have enough light facing me to balance that back.
It is tricky. I tried doing some videos years ago, and I had a green screen set up in my garage, and it took me a lot of time experimenting to realize I just needed a lot of lighting to hit my face and to come forward. So if you have any backlight coming in from the green screen, that can be affecting it a lot. So lighting makes a big difference with video, because your camera is open all the time. It's not like a snapshot where your camera lens opens up for a little while and then closes. Your video camera is open all the time. So lighting does make a big difference. So good lighting, a good webcam, and a fast computer are always going to be the things that are important for you. Okay. All right, let me do one thing here. I have to get my Zoom meeting set up on my iPad,
Bob, I have another question. Any way that we can get that lovely pictures of Akua's? That's just such a lovely picture. Is she volunteering? I can send her my email.
I'll have you, I'll show you other ways you can find free photos that you may.
But I like hers.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes somebody's got a great, photo and you say, how in the world did they get that, and you want to know, right? I get you. I'm setting up my iPad here to get ready to show you some things here. Okay, so let's do it for real on my computer. Okay, so you can watch me, and I'm going to move slowly, and then we'll try it out again. So I have to share my entire screen, so it's going to look a little odd. Okay, hey, okay, all right. So let me share my whole screen, and I have a pretty clean desktop, so I don't have a lot of stuff on there. Well, I'm actually looking at my own meeting on my iPad, so I can show you some next things. Okay, so what I have to do, when you're in Zoom, at the bottom of your screen, you have things called meeting controls. This is your toolbar. So if you see my mouse moving around the microphone, the video camera, I have a few different settings because I'm the host, but we all have a microphone and a video camera. To the right of the video camera is this tiny little arrow that points up. And when I click on that, it pops up, choose the video setting, there's some options.
Yeah.
And one of them says choose virtual background. Oh my gosh, I got a pop-up menu. Okay. All right. Okay. So now you get to see me twice, right? And so you see the settings automatically opened up for backgrounds and filters. Here's some backgrounds that a few of them come standard with Zoom. I do photography. So I've taken pictures of different things. And if you've already used a Zoom background before, it's available in your Zoom, in your background library here. So there's some office scenes, English gardens, rose parade. So I just use a lot of these are all, because I've been doing this class for a while. Somebody wanted tigers, beach scenes. And
how do you get these pictures that you're showing?
Okay, well, what we have to do is we have to add pictures, okay? So if I go to this plus button here, and I click on plus, I have two options. One is add image and one is add video. So I'm going to click on add image. And if I click on add image, it brings up my folders on my computer. It's a little different on iPhones and tablets and Android and tablets, but I have a folder here called backgrounds. I saved a bunch of pictures there. Okay, so find your picture that you want to use on your computer, and I suggest you create a little folder for it, and then it's going to be easier to find when you do this. So I created folders here. I have hills that I have, and I just click on open, and it changes the background to that photo. Okay. Now
you said everything is in the Zoom folder. If I thought I could just add 6 pictures and they seem to disappear, but what do you do? Just scroll down on the side?
Yeah, if you scroll down, if as long as you're using the same Zoom account, see, here's the picture. I used it once before, and I used it just now. So it has twice. I'm going to delete one of them. You can always scroll over a picture and click on a little X to delete it. I don't need it anymore, but I always recommend you save your pictures or images in a folder on your computer so that if you ever something goes wrong with Zoom, you know where to get to them no matter what. That's important. So, let's go through that one more time. Okay, on your desktop, when you go find the video camera, click the little arrow, click choose virtual background, click the plus button, click Add Image, and find a photo on your computer. Say icebergs, okay? Icebergs, okay? And then you are able to get to that photo, but you have to find the photo. Now I'm going to show you, I'm going to show people tablets first so they know how to do mobile, and then I'm going to show you some websites where you can find photos.
So, Bob, once you select your background, is that always the default unless you change it?
97.3% of the time. Sometimes it usually is, right? So that if I leave the meeting and I come back, it usually is the default, the background that I set. But there's always something, I don't know what happens or what I did that makes it change. That's
So
why
you always have to select to have a background each time you start a session?
Oh, well, I always double check before I turn on my video, because if you stop your video, you can still do a preview of yourself with the little arrow, choose virtual background. You can preview what you're going to look like before you actually go live. Okay. Akua, you have your hand up.
Yeah, is this the same process for videos, or is it something different I need to do? And I'm on a
Same
smartphone.
process for videos. If I go to choose virtual background and I click on the plus button, instead of adding an image, I'm going to add a video. Okay. So I actually found a video, excuse me, that's just leaves blowing in the wind. Sometimes Zoom gives you a few videos, but this one's just a springtime garden, you know. And it automatically loops over and over and over again.
Okay, I have the free Zoom, the 40-minute one. And is it because it's a free account and not a commercial or paid account that it won't give me the option for video, only for pictures?
Really? So when you click on the plus, it does not let you add a video?
No, it goes straight to pictures only. It
Really?
won't load any options. There's no, it'll show my pictures, but only pictures. It won't show the ability to select video.
Really? Okay. Well, I'm going to look that up, at the end of class for you. Okay. And see if we can find out if it's free, if it's a limitation on the free account or not. I don't know, because I don't have a free account, so I can't tell, but we'll look it up before class ends. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. All right, so let's go with one like this. Okay, so now I'm going to try an experiment here. I got to see if I can get my iPad working right to show you what's going on with my iPad here. So let me stop sharing on my desktop. Let me try sharing my screen from my iPad here. Will it work? Yes, it's working. Okay. So now I am sharing my iPad screen. Okay. So the reason I'm looking sideways is because I'm looking sideways at my iPad. I can't point to too many things here while I'm doing this on my iPad, but if you look in the upper right-hand corner, you should see my join audio, start video, stop share, participants, and the more button. Okay, you should see little 3 dots that say more, and if it shows up on your phone as well. So if I tap that, one of the options is background and filters. Okay, it's just that you, instead of getting it to with a mouse, you get to it by tapping 3 dots. And if I tap on background and filters, it gives me the ability to choose my background. If I wanted to add one, I would tap the plus button, and it lets me pick a picture from my photo library. Now, the first time you do it from your phone or a tablet, it's going to ask you for permission to access your photos. Okay, so that's, and I can switch it.
What happens, Bob?
Yeah,
One time, I don't remember which thing, I said, I didn't give permission. So how do you give permission after you didn't give permission?
well, I don't, if you tap on backgrounds on your phone, it should ask you for permission.
Yeah, but one place it asked me and I said no.
Okay.
How do I say yes?
I honestly don't know how to solve that problem. But if you tap on backgrounds again, does it ask you permission for a second time?
I don't know.
Okay, I would just tap on backgrounds again and see if it gives you, it asks for permission again, and do that. Otherwise, it might be something where you might have to go to Zoom's help website and see what happens. Or do you have an Apple device or an Android?
I have a Samsung phone, Android.
Okay, I was gonna say, if you have a carrier that helps you out, you know, with support, I would contact them. Because that's something that's peculiar to saying, no, you might have to find a way to go back into settings to give it permission to do that. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. I just wanted to show you on iPads a little bit how it works a little bit differently. Okay, so now I'm going to find some websites here. Okay, let me find get something set up, because you probably want to know where to get photos. I see some people starting to play around with different backgrounds, which is great. And I'm going to show you a couple of different places you can get photos for free. Okay, so one of these is, I got 4 websites. You're going to get links to all of these. I'm going to put these in chat since I've got the link open here as well. Let me get to everyone here. Okay, so one is called Pixabay. Another one is called Pexels. What happens is that what exists on the internet is that there are companies that offer you the ability to get a certain number of free photos and images because they want you to come back in the hopes that you're going to subscribe. It's kind of like going to Costco. For those of you that have ever gone to Costco, my kids got lunch in college through Costco. They would go to Costco at lunchtime and just sample the free samples, right? And that was their lunch. But if it's kind of like free samples. These websites offer you free samples of photos. So if you were looking for a dramatic home office, for example, I can go to this one, Pixabay, and if I go to type in home office, and I can search, I just tap here, it searches for home office images. Okay, some are better than others. The premium ones tend to be at the top, so be careful you find one that's free or whatever you might want to use, or we can do something that's a little bit different. I'm not too happy with any of these, so let's go to let's go to living room and see if we can find something better. Okay, here's some nice designs. Here's a kitchen, living room, some backgrounds that we might want to have, whatever we might want to use for a picture. So if we wanted to make this our background, for example, let's pick this one here. Okay, living room, condo house. I click on it.
Where?
What?
Where did you click on it?
I went to this website called Pixabay and I just did a search for living room.
Did you do a right click or a left click?
Just left clicked, just left click. Okay, so this is a photo I found. Oh, here's some other ones that are offered here, but these might be something I have to pay for. But this one says free download. Okay, what's going to happen, I'm going to share my whole screen for you because you got to see what's going to happen next, okay? You've got to see that when I go to click on free download, if I go to here and click free download and I click on this, I can download the photo and it's going to go flying. It's going to fly down to my download folder. Okay. I have to verify this. Okay. There we go. I think I did okay there. And now I can download. Boom, it downloaded it right away. Okay. So it went to my download folder here on the lower right corner. I have a download folder. I'm going to drag this over to my desktop because it's easier for me to find. So these sites like Pexels, you can look for, beach, you can look for anything, and they have all these photos that are free for you to download. You can make a donation if you want to. You can, find all kinds of images, flowers, Easter eggs. So if you wanted an Easter egg photo, we could use that one. They're free. And it's better to have one that's wider than it is tall. That's the only thing you want to keep in mind. So now I've got this photo on my desktop somewhere, okay? And I want to go to Zoom. And if I go to my video control, start video, choose virtual background, and I click on plus and add image, it'll ask me where is that image? Well, fortunately, I moved it to my desktop, so I know it's right here. Okay, there's the living room. I select the picture, and then I click open. All right, now I'm in, you've seen my new living room. That's my new background picture on my screen. So you're going to get a link to all of these websites that offer free photos for you to try out. There are lots and lots of virtual backgrounds, alumni associations. I see we have, I think, Janet, you've got an alumni logo there. So some people like sunsets, some people like mountains, some people like home offices, some people like, candy, some, people like, rabbits, for, whatever it is that appeals to you is okay to use for a virtual background. And so they're all going to be, you're always going to be able to access them for using that way, okay? So let's see if we've got any questions here before we take a few things and wrap up. Okay, anybody have any questions? Okay, let's get Pat. Pat, I haven't had a question from you, so let's get yours.
Oop, she's muted.
Unmute.
Go ahead and unmute yourself. There
Okay.
you go.
So, how do you preview a virtual background before going live? Would you go over that again, please?
Sure. If you want to preview it, I think I can do this. Let me try. I think it'll show you what I'm doing. If I share my whole screen and I just stop the video, I don't know what'll happen here. Okay. Now you're seeing my whole screen, but you aren't seeing me up in the little video block. Okay. If I go to the arrow by choose virtual background, I can select and choose my virtual background now and change it and preview it, even though I'm not live. And when I'm ready to go live, I can just turn on my camera again, and then I'm live.
How do you make yourself still like you just did?
I'm sorry, I have a little hearing disability. What is it that you asked?
You're live now, but how did you make the picture that you were still?
How did I make the picture?
Before you just went live, you were still.
Right. Oh, that is my profile picture in Zoom. If you go to your zoom.us account, you can upload a still picture of yourself, and that way it'll appear whenever you're using.
Oh,
Okay. I think they teach that in some of the Zoom classes we've got. Okay. Kua, you've got a question.
Yeah, my mic on?
Yep.
Okay. Pixie Bay and Pixel, do they have free videos too?
Yes, they do. They do. That flower background that I showed you, or the leaves kind of
Yeah.
bent in the wind, that was something I got from Pixabay. They've got a lot of stock video there that's available.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so let me
I have a question.
who's that?
Jane,
Oh, go ahead, Jane.
okay. If I'm coming to a Zoom meeting, which you're having now, in order to set my background, I have to go to my Zoom that I set up, put the background, and then come to you? Or do I put the background when I'm in the meeting with you right now?
You can do it right now in the meeting. Anytime you're in a meeting, you will, anytime you are in a Zoom meeting, whether it's one you started or one you joined, you have that ability to access the virtual background feature by clicking if you're on a desktop or a laptop, by using the little arrow button by the camera. On a tablet, you would use the three, or a phone, you would use the three dots.
On the top.
Right. And you could do that in advance or when you're in a meeting. So you can change it right when in a meeting. People are changing their virtual backgrounds on us right now if you're watching the screen.
I got you.
Okay. So we're going to stay on a minute. I want to try and see if I can find an answer to Akua's question about the video, if it works, if you have to have a paid account to use video. Okay, so we're going to look at that. But I just want to make sure you understood a little bit about computers and tablets and smartphones, websites. You're going to get an email. In the email, I'll give you have links for all of these websites that are available. And so, yeah, sometimes the lighting, sometimes the camera quality, sometimes the speed of your computer, all of those things can make a difference in the quality you get from a virtual background as well. And some classes, Zoom for beginners, there's advanced Zoom. I do a class occasionally. I don't know when it's scheduled, but it's called Creating Custom Virtual Backgrounds. You can actually use slide software like PowerPoint and Google Slides and Keynote to actually customize a virtual background and put text or graphics or shapes on it. And they actually have image libraries you can use there as well. You're going to get some notes. If you have feedback, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. If you have ideas, don't feel bad if you want to repeat the class again. I didn't learn ballroom dancing in one lesson. I had to take like years and years of it before I got better. But I've worked in technology my whole career. So be patient, try it again, get some things that might work out, and then join us for some other classes as well. Okay.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah.
Yes, this is Carol. When is your next class?
Next class on what topic?
This here, virtual backgrounds.
I don't actually know when my next class is on virtual backgrounds. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm going to have to check that out. See. Okay.
Okay.
I honestly don't know. I kind of keep my schedule one day at a time.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Pat, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
I do. This is not a Zoom question, and I know there are a lot of other classes. This is maybe it's a Google question, so maybe you can direct me to the right place. I'm having trouble uploading photos from my smartphone to my computer. I know what you're supposed to do, but I get something that says it can't find photos on my smartphone, and I have like hundreds. So I need to get an answer to that. So what class should I take? How do I find out what the situation is?
Well, do you have an Android or an iPhone?
Android.
I know that there's a couple of classes taught on Android that we do on Get Set Up. I don't know if they cover specifically moving photos from your Android phone to the computer or not. But I would look for the Android classes to see if they might have some information on that. There actually is in Windows, there is a setting that lets you basically have to get your computer to recognize your Android phone as a camera, and then it'll import the pictures. But I don't know if any classes do that or not yet. You have now become a systems integrator, unfortunately, in the world of technology, but trying to make technology from two different companies work together. Android's made by Google, Windows is made by Microsoft, and trying to get them. But I'd also do a search on the web. That might help you too, and say, how do I move photos from my Android phone to my computer?
Yeah, I've tried.
Usually, when I plug my phone into my computer, it immediately asks me if I want to download photos.
Yeah, sometimes it does that.
It doesn't work for me.
Doesn't work. Yeah. So sometimes people might not be. Okay, I have a question I'm going to try and answer here on, I'm going to try and see if I can get this answer to, can we use video virtual backgrounds on Zoom with a free account? Okay. Well, it seems like, can you use virtual backgrounds? Let's find out support, more information. Okay, virtual background video, recommended setup. So it doesn't look like it says your computer needs to meet requirements. Let me make that bigger for us. Background video, enabling virtual background. Okay, if you're signed in, if you can do it with images, you should be able to do it with video too. So let's see if it has something about background video. Okay. If you sign, maybe it says sign out of your Zoom desktop and sign back in. But if you have virtual backgrounds enabled, it should work. There may be a setting on your Zoom US account that might be something that doesn't allow you to, that just says has videos turned off. So I would recommend you, I'm going to put this link in chat, and that may help. Okay, so there might be something on zoom.us in settings for your account under virtual backgrounds that you might have to set up on that. But that's the only thing I can see. It should work on both a free account and a paid account as well. Shouldn't be a difference whether it's free or paid. Okay, Akua? Or who had that question? I think you did, right? Okay. Wow. Wow. So I see some great virtual backgrounds. I see some great real backgrounds too. And so give it a try, try some things out, don't be afraid to experiment, see if it works and gives you the virtual backgrounds you might want. Look at the websites for photos, find. So you can spend all day browsing photos on the web. So these are great websites just to, if you're looking to kill an afternoon, it'll knock out hours really, of time. So try that out and see if you like it. And hopefully we'll see you again. You can request a recording of this class by sending an email at help@getsetup.io. Watch for the email. And if you got any feedback and suggestions for other topics, let us know and we'll see if we can come up with some things. Okay.
How many backgrounds can you put on? How many virtual backgrounds can you put in there?
Nancy, I don't know. I haven't hit my limit yet. So, but I have about 20, so I don't know how many you need, if, but so far I haven't hit my limit. The photo has to be on your computer. If you delete the photo from your computer, you will lose your virtual background, that particular virtual background. So the photo has to stay on your computer. As long as Zoom knows where it is, it'll be fine. Okay. Okay, well, thank you, everybody, and thank you for everybody that was watching us by live stream. And
Thank
have
you,
a
Bob.
great Easter Sunday, and any time you spend with
Thank
family.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.